Welcome to this edition of the Commissioner's Report. Today we are being joined by Commissioner John Hall, and a little bit later we'll hear from Deputy County Manager Bill Beasley. First up is Commissioner John Hall. Welcome to the program, Commissioner.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Recently you told me you love being a county commissioner. You certainly have the experience for the position. Could you please provide us some of the background that you have as a longtime public servant?
Oh, absolutely. I worked for the Board of County Commissioners on the employee side for approximately 35 years before retiring to run for the board. I started as a laborer and worked my way through the organization, retiring as a division director of building and codes. Prior to that, I was either the deputy director or director of facilities management for 22 years. So I've gotten a good, I think, rounded experience in the board's operations.
And part of that time you were involved with the transition from the old courthouse, now the History Center, to the new courthouse.
Was involved in that transition, was involved in actually constructing the Polk County Administration Building that we're sitting in right now. Was the project manager on that. Took 2 years to construct. So yes, there's been a lot of the buildings in Polk County that I've been involved in.
Very good. And you're a certified public manager. What does that mean?
Well, being a certified public manager is really intense program. It's put on by Florida State University. It takes approximately 2 years to complete it, and it's graduate level equivalency for the courses that you're taking. It's intense, but it is you get a lot of background on how to treat employees and the things that you should be doing.
Oh, very good. And share with us how your private sector businesses contribute to your new role as a county commissioner.
Well, I think that it gives me a good insight on regulations, how the regulations impact construction, because when I left Polk County, I started a business called Construction and Maintenance Management. Some of the things that I had been involved in here at the county as far as project management, construction of new buildings and facilities, I just carried that into the private sector. I was hired immediately to construct a 10,000 square foot building in Winter Haven as the owner's representative and project manager, and then to do a total renovation of their home offices in the Tampa area. So I think that just the background that I have with the county and then moving into the private sector gives me a good insight into how regulations impact construction and kind of slow it down in some instances.
We're all aware of how important agribusiness is in Polk County. I understand you're a cattle rancher?
Yes, it's a little more than a hobby. You know, right now my father and I run about 100 head of cows, and it's really good. It's a good time to be with him. He's 80 years old and outworks me, but to be out in the pasture with the cattle, it's really good. And agribusiness in Polk County is big because it's basically our history with all of our citrus and with our cattle. So it's big.
Yes, sir. And please share with us some of your involvement away from the county offices.
Well, I've been involved with Tampa Lighthouse for the Blind. I was set on their board of directors for 9 years. When I was asked to do that, I was a little bit apprehensive, but thought, you know, I'd been so blessed and not given back anything to the public. So I agreed to do that, and it's one of the best experiences that I've ever had. It gives a good insight into the challenges that our visually impaired face on a daily basis. So I would say that's a real big issue. I have coached girls softball and boys baseball, Little League for my daughter and my son, and then I started coaching my grandson. Time does not permit me to be involved in that right now, but I try and stay involved as much as possible there.
Speaking of time and family, I know you love your family, and you have your hobbies and you have your work as a commissioner. How do you balance the family life with your work life?
It's tough, but I would say that it would be tough for any of our commissioners. There's I guess a mindset that this is a part-time job. I'm glad that it is. I couldn't do it if it were a full-time job. You have to strike a balance, and you have to understand that probably the most important thing in your life is your family. So you've got to make time for them. The public life and being a commissioner, something I've always wanted to do since I've started working at the county. So it is tough to balance that, but I think every one of us that have ever sat in this seat or will sit in it will figure that out.
Well, let's move right into that. You know, as family, you know, you're not a rookie because of your long-time work with the Polk County family. What do you think your role is as a county commissioner?
My number one role, and I was asked that during campaign, the number one role of any elected official, not just county commissioner, but any elected official, is to defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida. To do that, I think that we have to be cognizant of the fact that we live in an area where people are in hard times right now. And we need to hold our taxes at the lowest level that we possibly can while still providing the services that are needed. So my role as a county commissioner is to check our budget and make sure that we're providing what we need at the lowest possible cost.
Any surprises or unique challenges so far?
No, actually, having been a division director over 3 different divisions and having the opportunity and requirement to actually do presentations to the board, provide them with information. Being a county commissioner is somewhat what I thought it would be. The biggest challenge, I would say, or a surprise maybe, is the number of invitations and the number of evening meetings. So that's the biggest surprise.
Yes, sir. And you're assigned by the chairman a number of committees and tasks. Chief among them, you serve on the Lakeland Area Mass Transit and the Polk County Transit Authority, and I know that we have some interesting days ahead facing challenges with our transit.
Absolutely. You know, Polk County historically has been a rural county, but like I'll give you an example. When I started driving here, there was approximately 200,000 people, and we're over 600,000 now. With that number of people, that population level, we have some transportation disadvantaged. And as we move more toward an urbanized county, we're going to have to consider something as far as a countywide transit services. Those discussions will be coming up in the very near future. How do we provide that? How is it going to be funded? You know, different things along that level. But the more that you're involved, and again, I go back to Tampa Lighthouse for the Blind. Obviously, they can't drive. We need some type of transit services.
And you serve on the Public Safety Coordinating Council. Tell us about that, please.
Yes, I do. Well, it's a group of individuals that from a lot of different agencies, from the court system, from the sheriff's office, from the county here, and we track our crime history. What's our jail level? What's the staffing requirements? It's a pretty big job because, you know, again, going back to our population and our increase in population, the more population you have, the higher your crime is going to be, not in percentage, but in numbers of crimes, because our crime rate has actually gone down as a percentage of our population. But we just track that to see, make sure that we have the right jail size and staffing levels for our jails.
You have a lot of empathy for the citizens of Polk County, obviously, and we still have a little higher unemployment rate in Polk County than the state and in the nation. You are a liaison from the commission to Polk Works. Do you enjoy working on the Polk Works board, and anything exciting going on there?
Actually, there is. We have a great person in charge of Polk Works, and we have a thing that's called Race to Place program, and we're attempting to get 10,000 people back into the workforce, and Stacy is doing an excellent job at that. So kudos to her and her staff. But you're right. We do have some high unemployment and low wages, and we're working on both of those to try and bring in more businesses that provide higher wages and to get people back into the workforce.
Your family, again, means a lot to you. Tell us about the makeup of your family away from work.
Well, I have a blended family. My wife, Gwen, and myself, when we got married, she had one son. I have a stepson, Matthew Foster, who is a deputy with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. And then I have two children. My daughter is a registered nurse. She works in Winter Haven, not at the hospital, at the surgery center over there. And my son, who is a project manager / estimator for one of our local construction firms here in Bartow, Simcoe Construction. All of them have done really well. I'm really proud of all three of them.
You know, they say that it's too bad you got to have children to get the grandbabies. Tell us about the joy of your life, too, is two grandbabies.
Yes, Trevor, he just turned 11, and Kylie Ann, she will be 8 in July. And now my son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, have just announced that they are going to be having a little girl in September. Thank you. Thank you.
The Board of County Commissioners impacts all of our citizens. Tell us about your position in doing no harm to our citizens but doing good, and how we can move our county forward in the days to come.
You're right. The county commissioners do impact all of our citizens of the county, whether they're within the city limits or not. And the thing that I find that is really surprising when I talk to people is they do not realize that the county commissioner vote is a county-wide vote. A lot of them believe that they can only vote for their county commissioner if they're in that commission district. One of the major jobs of a county commissioner, I've told you, is a budget. And when you talk about doing no harm, we have a high unemployment rate right now. We also have a very high population of elderly in our county, and we have to recognize that when we start taking a look at services, how are we going to be impacting the people that are elderly and on fixed incomes? So we really do have to take into consideration doing no harm when we're making these decisions.
From businessman to longtime county employee, now county commissioner, you've kind of gone full circle with your life. Is there anything you would like to share with our audience today before we close?
Just that I am extremely happy with where I find myself right now. Years ago, when I first started with the county as a laborer, I used to sit and have my sandwich and drink at lunch and tell the guys that I was working with that one of these days I was going to be a county commissioner, and they used to just laugh at me. But you know, if you have something on your mind and you work for it, I think that you can make it happen. And this is probably the biggest honor of my life when you consider the number of votes that it takes to get elected to a county commission position, because we have to double some of the small state governor races up north just to be a county commissioner here in Polk County. It's an honor to be able to serve.
Well, it's easy to see why you love serving the citizens of Polk County. Thank you very much for being with us here today. And in a few minutes, we'll bring on Deputy County Manager Bill Beasley, who will talk to us about the departments that he supervises. Thank you very much. Welcome back to our special section of the Commissioner's Report. Joining us now is Deputy County Manager Bill Beasley. Welcome to the show, Mr. Beasley.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here, DG.
First off, please provide our viewers a little background on your life and what you do away from the office.
You know, DG, I was born and raised in the Norfolk, Virginia, Tidewater, Virginia area, but went to school in Pennsylvania, got an engineering degree, came back and was with the U.S. Navy for about 11 years, then decided to move my family to the Charlotte, North Carolina area, where I was a public works director for the county there in the Charlotte metropolitan region. Was involved in a lot of public works type projects, became active in local high school sports. Soon after that, I decided I wanted to make a change, and I ended up here in Polk County, Florida, very much like the Charlotte, North Carolina area, where you've got Orlando, Tampa, the metropolitan region, and some rural areas in between.
Yes, sir.
It's fit well. My hobbies right now are sports officiating, high school football, high school basketball, and some small college basketball. My work now is just heavily involved in customer service and trying to do what's right for the folks of Polk County.
That's what you're all about. The Board of County Commissioners and its staff touch the lives of our 620,000 or so citizens in numerous ways. As a key member of Manager Jim Freeman's management team, please share with us some of your responsibilities as they relate to our citizens.
You know, probably a lot of our citizens don't know that our organizational chart really has two pieces to it. It's got the support services, human services side, which Assistant Manager Leanne Thomas manages, and then I think it's called what I call the infrastructure side. The group that I deal daily with are 7 of the largest divisions in Polk County government: the Fire Rescue Division, the Facilities Division, the Fleet Division, the Solid Waste Division, Parks and Natural Resource Division, and the Transportation Division. Collectively, of the 1,900 plus employees Polk County government has, 1,400 of them on that side of our organizational chart. So I think, and I'm biased, but I think that the group that I deal with day in and day out really touches the lives of many of the folks in Polk County every day.
And I've known you since your arrival in Polk County about 8 years ago, and have learned that you're a huge proponent of customer service and being timely with responses. Where does this trait come from?
You know, if I had to attribute it to one person, it'd have to be my father. He was a staunch proponent of, one, never overcommit and underdeliver, and be timely. Do what you said you were going to do, and do it before you said you were going to do it. My father has passed away many years, but that trait I think he left me, and to this day I do believe I'm a strong proponent of customer service. Sometimes they don't like what we have to tell them, but if we can tell them it in the right way, in a timely manner, I think they accept those provisions.
And some of our customers are our government partners. Besides working closely with our citizens, the county has numerous partnerships and agreements with our municipal partners. Could you please give us a few examples on how these close working arrangements improve our efficiencies or quality of life in Polk County?
There's not a day that goes by that we are not, or we're always dealing in some form or fashion with our municipals, state and federal partners. We have regular basis where we deal with both the Southwest Florida Water Management District, the South Florida Water Management District, the State Department of Health, the State Department of Environmental Protection, the State Department of Transportation, the various municipalities, the Army Corps of Engineers. There is so much that I think a lot of citizens may not know, that just to do the basic things that we do on a day in and day out basis, that we have to partner with both our municipal liaisons, our cousins in municipal local government, and our cousins in federal and state government. It doesn't function without that cooperative spirit. And you know, to some extent, I think the public expects that to be a seamless relationship. And we work hard to do that, but it nonetheless, it exists behind the scenes every day.
Parks and recreation mean a lot to our citizens. In these tight budget times, what can our citizens expect in this important arena going forward?
You know, there's of the many areas that I deal with, you asked me when we were going to do this segment, what piece that I thought touched everybody's life or had the ability to do that. And I kept coming back to parks and natural resources. Our parks program for a county this size is very large. And I'd like to think that we have so many different venues and so many different things that so many different people of all ages and genders can participate in the Polk County program. And what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about some of the general things that we have on a large scale, but I'd like to update the viewing audience to some of the things that are new that we have in progress now and that they can look forward to.
That'd be great.
All right. Just a quick overview. The county has about 3,200 park acres. Now, you don't realize how large that is, but a county this large with 3,200 acres of just park projects or park programs out there, they're spread out all over the county. They're in some of the closely to the municipalities. They're in some of the Four Corners regions of the county. My point there is there's a park somewhere near you, or there's going to be one somewhere near you in the near future. But there's a venue out there for you to do that. The things that we have out there, Polk County, when I moved here, I was amazed at the number of lakes, the water bodies here. Well, Polk County has about 40 boat ramps to 40 of that. Doesn't sound like a lot, but on some of our bigger lakes, we have public boat access ramps. It's a very popular sport. People like to do that and are wanting more access to more lakes, and we're trying to do that. But we do have a lot of boat access to a lot of lakes. We have history venues. We have our History Center across the street here in Bartow. We have the Homeland Center down there in Homeland. A nice venue, a great place to go just to have a casual, social, lazy day out in the park program out there. I really would encourage the citizens to go out there and look at those facilities, participate in the programs they have out there, and they'll learn something about the history of Polk County. We have a number of neighborhood resource centers in 5 or 6 of our local communities. Those buildings are available to the public. There are various programs offered, from child programs to adult programs to some of our senior nutritional programs. Just a lot goes on behind the scenes that folks probably don't even realize exist. What I'd like to talk a little bit about is more so some of the things, recent things that the board has allowed staff to do. About a month or so ago, staff came to the board with some proposals that said, hey, here are some things that we think we can afford to do within the current budget, and the board agreed to let the staff have that latitude and move those projects forward. I'd like to talk a little bit about 5 of those projects.
Yes, sir, please.
One project that we have, and probably a lot of citizens don't know this, is we call it the Off-Highway Vehicle Park. It doesn't exist today, but the design is complete. We partnered with Mosaic and several of the state agencies with Swift Mud and so forth, and now the county owns about 200 acres down there outside of the Bradley area off of 37 and 630, I believe it is. Yeah. We're going to create a little over 200 acre park where people can bring their off-highway vehicle and their dirt bikes. It's those 4-wheel type of ATVs and their dirt bikes. The county, we heard through feedback from some of the public that there's nothing like that around here. So the county is going to build that facility in conjunction with some grants that we received from the state. We'd like to think that within a year that park will be built, and it will be a place where folks can come and do that form of recreation, which appears to be very popular in Central Florida.
And this is just north of the beautiful Stream Song
That's
Resort
true.
that our partner Mosaic
That's true.
has just developed.
And if you've ever been out there to look at that facility, I've
yes,
been
sir.
by there, but it's impressive.
Yes,
and it's
sir.
going to get more impressive as they add out there. Second thing I'd like to tell the folks about is, and this is more so for the folks in the Poinciana area. It's a large community in unincorporated Polk County. For many years, they really didn't have much in the way of park amenities up there. Well, the board agreed to basically build them a park at the intersection of Hatchnahaw Road and Cypress Parkway. It's about a 30-acre park. It's going to have 3 or 4 multi-purpose fields, 4 baseball, softball type fields, a quad, recreational compound in it where you can have meetings, you can have venues for storage, you can have concession stands. There'll be a dog park out there, a number of things that community has sorely wanted and needed for many years, and we were able to find the funds to do that.
And they're so very appreciative.
They are. They did come forward to the board and express that appreciation. And prior to that, other than a few facilities in Osceola County, the nearest facility to those folks was up in the Haines City area, which was a good 10, 12 miles away. So I think a county this large, the county doing that, I think is greatly appreciated, and that field will get a lot of use, those fields. Another project up in the Northeast, you may not know this, but this is northeast on 27, north of I-4, up into Lake County. There was about a 10-mile stretch of road where there was never a park. There was a lot of folks who were clamoring, we want parks, we want a venue for recreation. Well, the county bought about 90 acres. built the first phase of that park, which was a phase where we call it an active park, where they had a lot of soccer fields, football field, multi-purpose type fields, and we did that. That was brought online about 4 or 5 months ago, and the board decided they wanted to do some additional things in what we called phase 2 or phase 3 of that program, which was to create, we're now going to be building a dog park, some additional trails, some parking, some lighting, some exercise venues. So the county is moving forward with that small phase 2 of that project up there, which is going to add to the element that the citizens have grown to expect most recently up there.
And you just were at the opening of the new fire station.
That's right.
Up there, another one of your responsibilities.
That's true. In
Yeah.
fire rescue,
Yes.
we at the entrance to the park, and we thought it was a good relationship. At the entrance to the park, we created a brand new public safety facility that houses both EMS and paramedic engines, firefighters, so that we can respond in that area. We were short in the ability to respond in that area, but that just provides additional coverage for the folks in that area. And it was a good relationship between parks and the public safety folks. Another area I want to mention to you is, a lot of folks, again, may not know about this, but there's a campground called Coleman Landing, which is out way off of 60, just before you get into the Osceola County area by the Kissimmee River.
Yes, sir.
That was another one of these state partnership arrangements where the state, in the South Florida Water Management District, purchased that property and built to our specifications several boat landings there for power boats, for kayaks, for canoes, multi-purpose type boating arrangement. Well, one of the things that, in exchange for them buying the property, building the boat ramp, we agreed to take over maintenance responsibilities and agreed to construct a bathhouse, type of shower arrangements, restrooms, those kind of things, because we believe that that will make it much more attractive for folks who want to come to the park, and it's a campground. So that work is soon to be started, and I think it will just add to the venue and the amenities offered out there. But if you've never been out to Coleman Landing, it's as peaceful a setting as you'd ever want to see in Polk County, or I think anywhere in the state of Florida. But the fact that we have that program out there, it's way out there, and people love that lifestyle, we think it's going to be very popular.
And the fifth point?
The fifth, and I would say, well, there's several other ones, but I would say we have a park called Winston Park now. It's adjacent to a school up in the up around the North Lakeland area. We're going to basically disassemble that component. It's an old park. It's got problems. We're going to create another park up in that area, and it's going to be a park that has 3 or 4 multi-purpose fields, very similar to the Point Siena Park, but it's another park that's going to be created in that area that will strongly support girls softball programs, youth football programs, and other multi-purpose type field arrangements. It's just a wonderful venue that is sorely needed in that area because we have a very old, very antiquated, decrepit type facility where we offer those programs now. I think in the end, the folks up there who use that, especially the leagues, will greatly appreciate that.
My family's favorite is Circle B.
Oh,
Come on.
that's the marquee of environmental land programs. If you've never been out to Circle B, it's gotten national, if not international, attention. It's just a wonderful place. And you know, one of the things I'm concerned about out there is it's so popular that it's in this fall, spring, and winter, there are so many visitors that it's almost overrun at times with visitors. It's that popular. But it's a wonderful place to observe the environment up front, close, and personal.
That's fantastic. We appreciate you being on our show today, Mr. Beasley, and thank you for joining us again. Next month, we're going to feature 2 more commissioners sharing with us some current events and topics that make a big difference in the lives of our citizens in a county that's larger than the state of Rhode Island. This is Jim Degennaro, hoping that you enjoy this beautiful community that we call home. Please take care and see you next time.